Tonight, I want to welcome Mr. Alessandro Melazzini. He's an Italian-born filmmaker and writer and journalist, and right now he's based in Germany. Welcome, Alessandro.
Ciao, everybody. Thank you for inviting me in this conversation.
Thank you. You know, I looked to your filmography, and our basic discussion right now is about, you know, cinema after this problem of Corona, of COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also your studies and your work are very interesting to have your opinion from different perspective, different point of view. But let's start a little bit about your filmmaking. I want to know, have you recently finished any films, or you preparing films, you know, shooting, editing, and this problem of COVID stopped you of continuing your projects?
Yes, the answer is yes. I am currently very busy because in some time I have to do the most important part of a documentary which I'm doing for Italian television and German-French television about music of the 80s. And I have to go to Italy to do a lot of interviews. And this is quite a problem because I should have done months ago, but the COVID stopped everything. So there was a big uncertainty, and still is there. But at the end, I choose to go because if I just stay and wait when the thing is becoming better, maybe I wait too much. You know. Now the Italian border is open, so I hope everything is fine. But of course, I'm not so sure. Let's see. And this is a project of mine as a director and producer, but then I also curating some other projects with colleagues of mine where I am the producer, not the director. So it's a busy time and a complicated, more complicated than usual. As a documentary, you are always in complication, and now with Corona, it's even more. But nobody say that doing documentary is an easy job.
Yes, yes, of course. Because you know, the filmmakers doing television or cinema, I mean feature and drama, they have problems, of course, right now. Shooting in studio, having a very big crew. We
Yes.
keep reading this stuff, and all the big production are postponing, you know. But
Yes.
also right now, documentaries like you mentioned, you want to shoot reality, and right now reality also has been alternated by the current circumstances.
Yes, not only because, of course, my situation as a documentary filmmaker is better
Uh-huh.
than feature film because I don't have this big crew that they are in much more bigger problems. But
Yes.
there are problems which I didn't thought at the beginning. For example, not only the fact that the border were closed for a lot of times, but also the fact that we as a crew, we are going to meet people, and those people, of course, they are a little bit afraid because of Corona, because we are coming in their home, interviewing them.
Mm.
So I felt a little bit of anxiety from my interview partners, but now with the mask and everything, it should be fine, I hope.
Yes. I see that you have studied economics and philosophy, correct?
Yeah, my first life was in Italy, in Milan, studying economics. Then I finished it, but I choose not to work, so but to go on studying. And I went to Germany in Heidelberg to study philosophy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, and you started to study philosophy in German language, correct?
Yes, yes. I had 6 months between my finishing of economic and starting of philosophy, and I pushed with the German language because I thought if I'm gonna do such a big step like going on studying in the university instead of going right to work, I want to do it its best, and I think Germany has a lot of to do with philosophy. So I wanted to go to Heidelberg in a very famous and traditional university and do it in German. Yes.
Yes. So tell me, from your economics and philosophy point of view, what do you think about the current situation in the world? I mean, when we talk about COVID and Corona from the point of view economy, and also maybe philosophy has something to tell us, because humanity also have been through different pandemics through history. So what can you tell us in from this corner, very fast?
Um, well, fact is that I study economy and philosophy, but I'm more interested in Zen Buddhism and films. So not something which is not what I study, but something I learned when I was studying philosophy. The thing that I know that I don't know. So as a lot of people, we are in front of this big change. And before that, I tell what I think. I'm trying still to catch a lot of information from everybody to do my resume. And my resume is that I think this corona is not such a big tragedy. It is a tragedy, but if you see with the eyes of an historian, as you said, there were always in the history of mankind pandemics. We had the Spanish flu 100 years ago. Now we are all more connected, so it is maybe more problematic, but we are also 100 more in advance with medicine. So it is something new from one point, and it is something which has always been there from the other point. And I think that this can has two very difficult exit. Either this situation goes worsening,
Yes.
and it can also go in a point where could be wars between countries. We have
Yes.
in America a special president, let's tell me in a diplomatic way,
Yes.
which doesn't seem to manage very well the situation. And who knows what happens if these things go on and on. But also, and in Europe, for example, at the beginning, every country tried to do his business. Italy separated from French, separated from Germany. But these pandemics, if you can tell, one thing is that we have to coordinate ourselves, not just European wide, but worldwide.
Yes.
So I hope that, as Hegel say, the intelligent of the Listervernunft, the intelligent, the joke of the intelligence, that at the end, this tragic situation will let people understand how important is the cooperation between nations. So my hope, which is not a certainty, is that this situation goes on the good side so that we can move on our national interest and understand that we can only be strong if we are united. But I know that could be also the other way around. What
Yes.
I'm almost sure is that it will be not like the same. It's not that in 1 year nothing happened. I think we will live in a very different world, but we don't know which.
Yes. Yes, but myself, I hope as well that humanity, could change for the better. I mean, a little bit this problem. Sometimes when one human being face a problem, he learns from this problem, he gains experience. So I hope that humanity has an experience, and when change happen, we change in a better way, communicating with ourselves, regarding the language and the borders as well, to become better human. I hope so. But tell me a little bit about your recent documentary. I think you have two cuts, one as a television miniseries and one like a feature documentary, correct?
Yes, production-wise, I produce different kind of documentaries, mid-feature, 52 minutes, but also smaller one, 20, 30, 40, and those I produce. And the one which I'm doing as a director now, which is about the world of Italo disco, which is the electronic dance music which was invented in Italy and then conquered the world back in the 80s. It is a 52 television documentary.
Yes.
I'm interviewing a lot of people actually in the next weeks in Italy, and I'm thinking if I will have the strength and the time to maybe do a festival version, a
Yes.
longer one, because it could be interesting, but I'm still in the making. Yeah.
Are you interviewing Sabrina Salermo, Boys, Boys, Boys?
Yes. Let me tell you, yes.
Ah,
And let me tell you also that I interviewed her as a first one
yes.
because actually end of last year, I really wanted to interview her because we didn't make the interview. I didn't know that you were asking me that, and
Mhm.
you confirm myself that Sabrina, for example, is very famous worldwide, and I thought um, Sabrina is a woman. That time there were a lot of men singing, less woman in this Italo disco scene, and I thought Sabrina is very interesting one, very famous, and so it was not easy
Mhm.
to get to her. It was not easy to convince her that we were really interested in what she has to say, not just some superficial stuff, but we wanted to dig it, and it went very good at the end. And she's a very interesting person, a very very strong, determined woman. Is of course a sexy woman. We know that, but what is less known maybe, and what I really felt when I was there interviewing her, it is she's a very strong-minded, interesting woman. I'm very very happy that I interview her, and I will also have some other interesting woman. I don't want to tell everything because I want to keep
Yes.
the surprise.
Sorpresa.
But yes, a sorpresa. But let me tell you, that is really what I like in documentaries. It's that if you are lucky, if you do your homework, you can connect with the protagonist. You can go deeper. You can study them. You can see them behind the glittering things which you know from the media. And with Sabrina, it was exactly like that. She's a very interesting woman, and if I didn't have the chance to interview her personally, maybe I couldn't have go deep in her. So, in her thinking mind and in her experience. So, yes, I'm very happy she's in the documentary.
I remember this era, a lot of Italian
Mm.
bands, singers
Would
singing,
that? Would that?
sing, yeah, singing in English,
Yes, yes, exactly. Yes.
I remember as well the song Disco Band, it starts with somebody coughing, You remember the song?
There were a lot disco bass. It was
Disco
from
Band, Disco Band. Huh?
uh, disco band. Now not yet. Disco
Yeah.
bass. I remember from La
Yes,
Bionda.
it's very famous. It starts with somebody tossing like that, and
Ah, the tossing guy. Ah, yes, yes. Sorry, Scotch. It's called Scotch.
yes,
The
yes.
company. Yeah, they are tossing, and the video is very funny actually. And let me tell you that it's disco band. It's an Italian singer, but the disco band Scotch in 1985,
Yeah.
and the video clip is in a hospital.
Of course.
And
Yes.
I find very interesting this video, and
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought if I have to put it in the documentary or not, because
Mm-hmm.
with the corona situation, it's incredibly interesting. Problem is that this kind of documentary, it's very difficult because you have to free the rights of the music,
Yes.
and it's a work as itself. So, and then you have also to decide which kind of people are you going to interview, what about. So probably I will not be able to put this video clip in the documentary, but it is an incredible situation now in Corona that this Italo disco song was
Yeah.
made in an hospital. Yes,
Yes.
Scotch.
I want to tell you that this era, I used to watch a lot of Italian television, the Rai, the Rete,
Yeah.
and also these bands like Scotch or Sabrina, and also the music festival in Rimini, uh,
Yes. Yeah.
on the borders of Italy. So that era was very, it defines a little bit our generation, our teenage years. And because we used to have cassette at that time, no CD or DVD or Blu-ray, and we used to have this cassette of music collection, and it has like 10 songs, like with Sabrina, with Scotch, with Samantha Fox,
Yes.
these collection songs. And also during that era, since you are in Germany as well, there are a lot of German music bands and singers who made it very famous around the world. If you remember as well, Michael Cretu, Sandra, Enigma, Modern Talking,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
It's and Bad Boys Blue as well, Bad Boys Blue. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think this disco thing, was a very it was speaking of music, it was very a creative time for music, you know.
Exactly. And my problem is that it's such a big theme that I have to cherry pick something. So I will not be able to tell everything. That's the problem because it was a very big word that time.
Mhm.
And you exactly say that what I would like to do is, of course, tell the story of Italo Disco, which is a special section of the disco world, but also try to reflect on why we have these memories of back then, what was so special back
Mhm.
there. And a lot of people connect the 80 disco music, electronic with superficial things, but it tell us more. And
Mhm.
that's I find interesting in doing a pop documentary, that you can move yourself in a niveau, in a level which is just a plain funny talk of what happened, and then you can try. I will try. I don't know if I succeed, but I will try to go a little bit deep to understand why it was such an explosion back then. Because there was not only the singer but the producer,
Yeah,
the marketing. It was an industry, and,
of
and which kind of feelings this music gave them there. As you said, there was in Germany a lot of music, and a lot of Italo disco music was made in Munich, where I'm living. So there
Mhm.
is a special German-Italian connection, and
Mhm.
I find it very interesting. And I will try also to speak about that. It's very interesting, actually.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, yes.
and what I like in doing documentaries, there are some colleagues, some people that they have a thesis and they want from the beginning to show you their idea. My
Mhm.
way of doing things is to learn by doing. Of course, I know the music, I like the time, but I like to study. I like to know more the more I do the documentary. So I want to learn myself something new. And this doing documentaries give me this great opportunity that I can learn such interesting thing of a subject, like for example the electronic music.
Of course.
Yeah.
I want to tell you as well, right now, if you want to make a television series or a film that gives homage to the 80s, you know, and there are a lot of stuff like that on American television, you know. Uh,
Stranger Things from Netflix, for example.
Strange Things on Netflix, for instance. And it's very easy if you can select soundtracks from the music of the era, you know, and you put it with the clothing and the art direction, and then you have the feeling of the 80s, you know. Especially if you remember Scarface with Al Pacino and you know, the music of Giorgio Moroder, you know, he was,
Giorgio Moroder, Giorgio Moroder is, it was, he made the music uh,
Mhm.
some kilometers away from me. And let
Yes,
me tell you, Donna Summer,
don't,
I Donna Summer, which met Giorgio Moroder in Munich, where I'm living, she
uh-huh.
was for a time of her life, she was living 500 meters from where I live. It's
Excellent,
incredible.
excellent.
Yeah, and Giorgio Moroder was, of course, it's a genius, and
Yes.
I will tribute him in the documentary, because you cannot speak about electronic music, about film music, without mentioning Giorgio Moroder, which, by the way, is a German-speaking Italian which came from Italy, went to
Excellent.
Munich,
Yeah.
and then conquered Hollywood. Very interesting person. Very interesting.
Yes. So for me, I'm very enthusiastic to see this documentary.
I hope to do it, because I'm speaking about, I don't want to jinx it, but, till you are finished, the documentary doesn't exist. So I'm a little bit, I have to tell you, I'm a little bit, I'm
Yes.
hoping that speaking too much about documentary will not jinx it, because since it's not finished, I have to do the interviews. I don't know what's happening. That's also the fine thing of the documentary. I can prepare myself, but who knows what's gonna happen in the next weeks when I go to do the interviews. But I'm
Yes.
confident.
I wish you the best of luck,
Thank you.
Alessandro, and I hope that the next months will be better for you, our works, you know, and our families and our friends, because I think it's a very good time to support each other, you know, on different levels. And finally, before I close the interview, I would like to please give you the opportunity, if you want to say something to filmmakers or people seeing us generally. Maybe they don't know anything about us, but they will stumble upon our interview. What do you like to say?
I would like to say to filmmakers
Hmm.
that it's a very, very tough business.
Hmm.
It's very tough, and myself, every time, every day, I'm struggling with these difficulties. And but I would like to say, um, you have to go on your stuff. You have to believe in your stuff. You have to be ready to learn. You have to fight back, and go on, because maybe young filmmakers are sorry because things doesn't go on. Try to always learn more. Don't give the pity to other because of your failure. And even failure can be a great boost to go on and to learn. So I would say be positive, because doing this job, documentaries, film, it's difficult, but it's wonderful. So most part is difficult. It's not festival prizes. It's hard work, but don't give up and go on and be open, I would say.
Okay, thank you very much. And I wish you the best of luck in the upcoming months for your new projects. Thank you.
To you too.
Mm.